Welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm very excited today to be joined by Ryan Kruger. Ryan, welcome.
Hey man, how's it going?
Great. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, you are a writer, a producer, an actor. You wrote and directed Fried Berry, the Shudder original that came out a few years ago. I'm a huge fan. And you have the new Street Trash that just came out. Fantastic film. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated.
In effect, you are ordered to remain in your homes and off the streets. Failure to comply will result in prosecution.
It's the 8th consecutive year of Mayor Mustard. Will he be re-elected?
Mayhem in the city. Homeless are fighting against the government. People are fighting for their rights.
I have reduced the number of homeless people in the city to basically zero.
You are finally ready, my China. It's time.
Yeah, I can't wait to chat with you about both films. But before we get into it, so with Street Trash coming out, Dread Central referred to you as a master of body horror, which is fantastic. You should be really proud of that.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds great, right? That's a great title to have. Starburst called it gloriously anarchic, and Neil Marshall called it demented, gory fun. I'm a huge
It's
fan.
yeah.
I think those who have seen the original Street Trash are really going to like your film. I think you've you've made it even better in many ways. So before we talk about Fried Berry, why don't we spend a little bit of time talking about Street Trash? And my first question is, what was it like breathing new life into the original classic? And would you say it's a sequel, a remake, a little bit of both? And
I've
what's
always
different? Go ahead.
I've always seen it as a sequel.
Mhm.
It's one of those things for me when I got approached to do the film and to write the film. As a kid, I grew up watching the original Street Trash, and it was always that movie that I would watch late at night in my bedroom on the little small TV, me and my
Yes.
friends. And it was always this cool thing. And then years later, I'd go back to it and you watch it as you do. And so it's one of those, like, I am one of those fans that loved Street Trash and grew up on it. So the last thing I wanted to do is to fucking try remake it or redo it in any
Yes.
fucking way. That film is what it is, and I didn't want to copy it. So I want to
Mhm.
play, I wanted to give a few nods to it with the film, which I think we did really well. And
Mhm.
the fact that we shot on 35, and there is those little Easter eggs that's in from the in this film from the original, little nods. And I think because
Mhm.
we shot it on film, we still had that 80s feel, and with the music and then keeping with the prosthetics. It is when I was writing it, I was like, it can just be later on. It's same
Mhm.
world, just like later on in that world. And yeah, and it worked. And we even mentioned the original, the original film in
Yes.
this film. So I've always seen it as a sequel. Obviously, the when the press first got hold of it, it was, keep saying it was, a
Mhm.
remake. It's not, and that's why I think with the fans that have watched it so far have really been like, I didn't expect it to be this good. I didn't expect it. It's so nice that it's actually a sequel and it's not a remake, and yours is totally different,
Mhm.
than the original. And you have a bit more, you have more of a narrative story, and have expanded on that world. And so it
Mhm.
was very cool at the LA premiere at the New Beverly cinema. that, you had all these hardcore street trash fans, but really loved it and really enjoyed it and didn't think they would like it as much as they did. And some liked it more. And I was like, fuck, that's amazing. That's amazing. And that's why, I
That
don't want to
is,
take it
yeah.
from the original. I'm a fan of the original. So,
Mhm.
I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to, I obviously jumped to that when they offered me to do the film, I was like, hell yeah, yeah, that'll be awesome. I never thought that would ever happen.
Yeah, so the film is awesome. I love it. I'm a fan of the original. I'm a huge fan of this one. Congratulations. I think people are really going to like it. Speaking of the practical effects, there's a lot of practical effects in this one. I think the Gore fans who are watching this will be very pleased. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of colorful gore in this. We've got giant pus bubbles, oozing faces, dissolving limbs. I mean, you name it. It's really nice. It was a fun watch. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like bringing all of these practical effects to life in the film?
Well, I've always been a big fan of 80s films and prosthetics. I always say
Mhm.
if I didn't do acting and directing, I probably would have went into prosthetics and animatronics. So for me, as always, loving prosthetics and movies, it was like, fuck, this is all about prosthetics, this type of films. So it was
Mhm.
it was great to, speak with the prosthetics people going, what can we do? Can we do this? Can we do this? And then plan out, each of the major melts throughout the movie. So that was really cool and really excited and cool to see that coming together where we still wanted to add blood to it, make it a little bit darker, but also obviously it's a very important thing with street trash is to have those fluorescent,
Yep.
colors because people that don't know street trash, listen, there's a lot of people that know street trash, and there's also a lot of people that don't know fucking street trash, of what it is. So for a
Fair
new
enough.
audience,
Yeah.
it can be a standalone film. For the fans, this is definitely a sequel because the people that don't know what street trash is, they can see this fluorescent color blood, if you want to call it goo, and they'd be like,
Mhm.
"What the fuck is that? Like, why is it that color?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
but it was
exactly.
an important thing. It was an important thing. So yeah, I think we had a lot of fun. It was winter when we were shooting the film,
Mhm.
so each actor that did one of the very gory scenes they were freezing. Just
Oh man.
upon ooze or blood, it was just like it was really cold. But it was cool, and everybody was like good troopers, and we did it, and there was a lot of night shoots, but it was fun. Like night shoots, some actors hate night shoots. I love a night shoot. I'd rather shoot at night than during the day.
Very cool. Well, it's very effective. It works so well. I can't wait to rewatch, actually, to revisit some of the effects. Let's see. You play a few roles in the film, including one that I wasn't expecting, and that is Sockle is his name, which
Yeah.
is a semi-imaginary puppet figure in the movie. Um, what was it like giving voice to that, and also what was the ideation like to bring Sockle to life? And I don't want to ruin the film for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah,
um,
so with Sockle, originally when I wrote that character in, it was very much um a support boat, a support character for Gary Green's character, Two Bit.
yes.
And because obviously I work very closely with Gary the whole time, Mr. Fry Barry,
Mhm.
it was just that nice bridge to do that. And I hadn't really done voice work before, but as an actor, we're always like fucking around and doing voices and stuff like that.
Sure.
So with this, it was just I don't know, it was just like from the start. When I got the idea, I thought this is fucking funny. This is great. And it was one of those things, obviously, because it's totally different again than the original Street Trash, and also bring in that extra new thing to it, but it's also super fucking 80s. It's still that, little
Yeah.
puppet.
Mhm.
It was still very 80s, which I think a lot of people did not expect either to
Yes.
be in the film. Or it's that it was also that thing where it was a very big decision. Well, sorry, not a big decision. It was one of those things
Mhm.
where you don't want it too much, and you don't want it too little. For Sockle,
Right.
I think it's the right amount of screen time in the film. You know what I mean? You don't want to overdo it. And I think it was just enough that it didn't fucking annoy people. But everybody loved it. That's the one thing so far.
Yeah.
Everybody absolutely loves Sockle. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. And like I said, semi-imaginary, and no spoilers here, but um, for those who have seen it, and if you watch it, you'll know what I mean by the semi-imaginary. And I'll leave it at that. Let's see. I understand you mentioned that you filmed this on 35 millimeter film. What was that like? And would you do it again?
I would 100% do it again, and it was fun. It kind of makes me think why we don't um
Mhm.
film on film, but at the same time stepping back, looking at it producer wise and stuff like that, it's like if it doesn't come out, it doesn't fucking come out. And then you've
Yeah.
wasted all that money. So
Right.
it's one of those things where obviously, shooting a digital film is a walk in a park. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You can retake it, you know what you're getting with film. Obviously you hire all the right people and the right DP and the right camera loader, so it's going to get back, but it can easily get back the footage and there's a big line through it, or it doesn't come out, or it's been
Yeah.
exposed, or so it's
Mhm.
originally when because I didn't know we were going to shoot on film originally, which was long before we shot the film, and then the producers Justin and Matt was like, dude, do you want to shoot on film? And I was like, I'd love to shoot 35, that would be amazing. And then slowly after that conversation and meeting, I was thinking about it more and more, and I was thinking, shit, I don't know if it's a good idea, because you start thinking about what if it doesn't come out, and what if this happens, and
Right.
what if that happens, and but in the end, it was fine, and
Mhm.
but I think it was the first 3 or 4 days of shooting, or 3 days, and then we would send it from South Africa to England to get developed and digitally sent back to us. So we would only see the first digital footage, converted from film, sent back to us like four
Mhm.
days after filming. So we didn't know what the fuck we were gonna get back until we got it back. And then when we got it back, we were like, okay, this is cool. This is rad. This is looking amazing. And then that kind of fills you with hope. And you're like, all right, okay, everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be good. And then it was. And out of 4.5 weeks or however long we filmed, our focus puller, there was, I mean, I think he didn't calibrate the lens like twice or 3 times on a shot, and then that was it. So everything
Oh,
came
wow.
out perfect apart from like 3 shots. And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "No, dude, that's like amazing that out of everything that we've
Yeah.
shot has come out like perfect." So it was awesome.
Yeah, it looks incredible. I think you made the right choice there, and I bet it's fantastic on the big screen. I hope to get to see it on the big screen at some point. Um, let's see. I do want to talk with you about Fried Berry, but before we do that, I guess my final question for you about Street Trash is, what would you say to those who haven't seen the film, to make them want to see it, whether they've seen the original and are fans of the original or not?
Well, whether you're fans of the original or not, as you said, it's one of those where all the bits that you would like in the original film, with
Mhm.
whether it's like the camera work, or whether it's the gore and the blood and all that, and the characters, we have it all in this film as well. So it's all the cool shit that you like in 80s films. If you're an 80s fan,
Mhm.
we have the 80s feel and vibe of music. If you like Fry Barry, I'm pretty sure you'll dig this movie. Yeah, we have the prosthetics. It's all about in camera. It's on 35. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that as a film lover, to shoot on film, to have the prosthetics. One thing for me, it's very important with any film that I do, is that I believe in a good story, a strong story. I believe in good characters, strong characters that you care for, and crazy characters. And when it comes to a film like this, it's important to have cool prosthetics and gore, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes. Oh, well said. And I think you succeeded. And hopefully we'll get a physical copy too, because I'm all about physical media. Let's see. So let's
Absolutely.
switch gears and yes, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about Fried Berry. I love this film. I've got a couple of reviews here. I just want to read out quickly. Rue Morgue said it's a cult destined film that you must see to believe. Completely agree with that. Den of Geek called it a hard R version of ET, which I also
Yeah, I
love.
remember that. That was cool. That was a cool. That was a
That's good,
cool one.
right? Yeah. Let's see, an insane fever tour of life on Earth, and that was from Stranger Harbors. So fantastic reviews there. I love the film. Gary Green is phenomenal in it. Let's see, how did this film come about? It's about a drug-addled degenerate who gets abducted by aliens, for those who haven't seen it. And I have a copy of it right
Yeah,
here.
but yeah, classic, classic.
Yes, yes.
I think Fry Barry for me will always be very, very special to me. Not just because
Mhm,
it's my first film, it's because where I was before making that film. As a
mhm,
filmmaker, before shooting Fry Barry, I shot like 100 music videos. I did commercials, I did short films, I did experimental films, and directing wise. And it's always been that dream of becoming a feature film director. And over the years, I've spoken to I spoke to producers and they were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, well, we're really interested in working with you." And like, have you got a script? I'm like, I've got this and I've got this or I've got that. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we really want to work with you." And then it fades away and it doesn't happen. And then you
yeah.
meet another producer, or whatever, and it fades away and it doesn't happen. And it's
Mhm.
obviously it's one of the toughest industries. If it was so fucking easy, everybody will be fucking doing it. So it does take time, but it was also getting very annoyed and pissed off that there's other people that get opportunities, and you look at some of the films and you're like, fuck, that's fucking shit. How the fuck did they get
How did that happen?
funded to do
Yes,
that
yes,
movie?
yeah.
And it happens, it happens. It's
Sure.
like with actors as well. You get shit actors and they get a break, and like they're fucking terrible, and that such and such an actor is way better or whatever. So that it
Yes,
happens.
yes,
But I was just
yeah.
so tired, and I started getting like depressed and not being where I wanted to be in my life. And just before I made Fry Barry, there was this depression. There was all these things that happened. I also had something wrong with my kidneys. I had an operation. I got sepsis. I nearly fucking died.
Oh gosh.
My cat got ill. I would try to save my cat, and he's still here. It's 7 years later,
Yay.
how long it's been.
And so are you.
So
So that's
that was
great
cool.
news.
Yeah. And Fry Barry, in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a film and I'm going to fucking do it myself. I'm not going to wait for everybody else to make a decision. I had money at the time because I was busy acting in Warrior and a small part that series. I was shooting some
Mhm,
commercials. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to make a film. I'm going to have to shoot it every now and then. I shot 28 days, took me over a year and a half. And that's how long like it took me. And I was writing as I was going. And before I
mhm.
decided to do the concept, I had all these other scripts that probably would have been way fucking easier to shoot. But when I got the idea for Fry Barry, I already
Mhm,
shot that 2017 uh, short little 3-4 minute experimental that
mhm,
I didn't know I was even gonna make a feature of it. I just thought that did really well. And then I thought, how could I make this character and bring it into the film? And then as soon as I got the idea, straight away, I knew that that was the original idea to do instead of all the other scripts that I had. I was like, this is fucking cool. I haven't seen this yet. I want to see this film. And I just started, and the producer I was working with at the time, I just said to him, I said, I want to make a film. I want to start next month. And he was like, "Have you got a script?" And I was like, "I've got a bit of a script, and I'm going to write as I go. I know I've blocked it all out already. I've done a
mhm,
scene breakdown." And he's like, "Well, why do you want to do it next month?" And I was like, "Because if we don't do it next month, it's never going to happen. And I want to start next month." And he was like, "Cool." And then as soon as we did that day one, that was it. Then I knew we were making the film. And yeah, there was just something very special about it while we were making it. I knew there was something really cool and special about it.
mhm,
I got to be very creative, and the luxury was every now and then shooting and thinking, oh, I need this now, I need that, or actually I don't need what I thought I needed, and I can, go shoot this or go shoot that. So it just came together, but we kind of knew it was something special, and I kind of knew that people
That's
like me
awesome.
that love, 80s films and all those type of things, that just like me, they'll be like, oh, this would be a rad film to watch. And
Yes.
for me, it was like the adult version of E.T. My biggest
Yes.
like references was, like Bad Boy Bubby mixed with like Starman, and it jumbled up with a few different, a few different things all put together, and
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
shaped, made
That's
it,
fantastic.
made it my own. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Gary Green is phenomenal in this film. How did he get the lead role, and how did you come to work with him? And he's also two-bit in Street Trash.
Yeah.
Amazing performance there too.
Yeah, Gary's great. Gary is, originally I worked with, I've worked with Gary for many, 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 many years. And Gary's background is he was an extra. He was doing like extra work. And I used to get him on board on like music videos, a little part here and there. And you know, every now and then his part was just like a little bit bigger, like a little bit more screen
Yeah,
time. And then
of course.
when I came up with the idea for Fry Barry in 2017, experimental film, it was just like
Hmm.
it was basically just like a drug addict on his highs and lows in an abandoned building, just like off his fucking head. And I thought this guy would be great for that if if I work with him and do it right, it would be cool. And we shot it, and it was cool. And I was like, fuck, this is actually one of my favorite things, so I can do my style. And then after that, by the time it came to, doing the feature film, I rang Gary up and I was like, come around, I want to talk to you about film, and I've got this idea. And I just thought, for Fry Barry to work, at it had to be the right story and the right character and the right way to
Hmm.
shoot it, because Gary doesn't come from an actor trained actor background. So there was all these things that had to be right,
Hmm.
that the way to do it. Even because we didn't have a lot of budget making the film, it was also, when you're making a film like this, it was the continuity. So because you're
Hmm.
shooting out of order and over such a long time, it's one of those
Hmm.
things where if you try to do that, if you've got a jacket and then somebody hasn't got the jacket in 2 months' time, or somebody's cut their hair or they've dyed their hair, and you're like, oh, this is never going to work. So the
Yes.
way I had the story, it had to be, there were so many things that had to be right for this film to work. And the main
Hmm.
continuity of the movie was Gary, and that's it. And apart from the sex worker and the girlfriend or his wife, they only come back into it like 2 to 3 times max. Apart from that, the main
Hmm.
continuity of the movie was Gary. So when I was working with Gary, because it, because the first part of the movie, first 5, 10 minutes of the movie, he has to come across semi-normal, in a sense of, he's just this drug addict. And to
Yes.
get that right was very important. And then after that, when he got abducted, everything was obviously then over the top and then crazy, because he's got the alien inside his body.
Hmm.
But I always say there's like a three-phase thing that I do with Gary with work, and it's like I will rehearse with him, before we're on set. And then when we're on
Hmm.
set, rehearse again. But sometimes when you're on set, things will change because you'll get a better idea or this or that, and it'll change. And
Sure.
then when it comes to post, it's about shaping and editing and and hitting those marks with editing. So a lot of the time with Fry Barry, um, when because it was all about him going out in the world and experiencing all these people, and then it's the
Mhm.
people experiencing this alien. So
Yes.
it was like a TikTok between people the whole time. So when I was shooting
Mhm.
Gary's close-ups and stuff, it would be like Gary would be here, the camera would be here, then I'll be on the side of the camera and I go, okay, Gary, I'll pull this face, I'll pull this face,
Oh my
I'll pull
God.
this
Yes.
face. I'll try this. And then so I would shoot that, and then I would get
Yeah.
all those moments and those beats. And then when I turn it around on the other actor, then it would literally be the other actor would, say these lines and say these things. And then obviously I've got all the reaction beats and comedy beats, um, you
Mhm.
know, f- to make it funny and to make it like he's reacting to this and he's reacting to that. So a lot of it is done in editing or trying to get options of reactions. But Gary did amazing. He looks amazing. I'll always work with
Yeah, yeah.
Gary. He's yeah, yeah. He's one of those. He's just got a great look.
Like
He's
true
got a he's
talent. Yes.
yeah,
The
he's just got
different
a great
facial
look.
expressions are
Yeah, yeah, and he just
incredible.
has that awesome presence and great look. So I love working with him, and working with Gary on Street Trash. It was an obvious thing where I'm like, he has to be in Street Trash. He has to play like a fucked up acid head from
Yes, yes.
that has imaginary friend or whatever, and it was like it worked perfectly. It was a
Mhm.
little bit similar to Fry Barry, but it was. It worked perfectly, and and that's why I brought the Sockle character in to also change it up. But
The
the
dynamic,
interesting thing
yeah, it's great. Go ahead.
about these characters that it's almost like Street Trash is still in that same world as Fry Barry as well. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
still that same like crazy world. But I think Fry Barry, as I said, it's one of those films that I love the film. It's not just my work. It's so many people. It's the Hazer that did the soundtrack and
Mhm.
all these other actors that did these brilliant parts. Even our lead in Street Trash, Sean Cameron Michael. He played
Yes.
that.
He's in it too.
Andrew
Yeah.
Vass played Chef.
Yep.
They're
Mhm.
the people that escaped from the mental institute, and they were awesome.
Yes,
And
that
it's
whole
one of my
sequence is
favorite
it's
scenes in that sequence.
yeah, I love that
Yeah, it
too.
was just
Mhm.
I think people that watch Fry Barry and the amount of people that have reached out to me over the years is insane. And there's so many hardcore fans of Fry Barry, which is amazing. Like
Yeah.
it never ends, it never stops. People keep messaging me or people keep talking
Oh,
about
that's
it.
so cool.
And
I
and I think
mhm.
everybody that watched the film, I think they can see that we had so much fun. And I think it's
Mhm.
exactly the same now with Street Trash. I think people watch the film, they can see where we had a lot of fun.
I think so. Yeah, and it comes across that the fun that you're having on set comes across in the film. And I think with Street Trash, like you just said, those who see it, I think, are going to love it. And if they haven't seen the original, then it'll get a new audience for the original film as well. So that's a win, I think, on both
Yeah.
fronts. Um, I love the one scene in Street Trash with Gary when he talks about his two tattoos because you have no idea
Yeah.
what he's going to say, and he's like, "This is Moo, this is Kitty." I love that moment. And I also in Fried Berry, I love the whole nightclub moment too. That was so effective. I don't really have a question
Yeah.
there. I just wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
Congrats
No, it was
on those on that.
thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. And the tattoos from Street Trash is Kitty and Moo Moo, which is my
Kitty and
cat.
Moon,
Kitty.
yes.
So it's my cat and my girlfriend's dog, Mumu. So there's lots of like little Easter eggs and all these things. And on his back,
Oh, amazing.
he also has rest in peace, Rip, Nanny Pat,
Mhm.
which was my grand that passed away the year before. So there's
Ah,
so many Easter eggs
yeah. Oh,
in
that's cool. I
Trash,
had no
just like
idea.
Fried Barry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have one last question about Fried Berry, and for those who haven't seen it, it's a very trippy, beautifully strange, kind of far out sort of film that blends horror, comedy, sci-fi expertly together, all in one. What was it like making it seem so bizarre and trippy? Like the post-production process, is that what took so long?
Um, Post-production actually didn't take that long. I mean, there was a
Okay.
lot of there was a lot of stuff. Obviously, like I said, a year and a half, 28 days, over a year and a half. It felt so long,
Yes.
like shooting the movie.
Yep.
Um, but again, a lot of the stuff was in camera. There was a few visual effects there, very like small things like with his neck stretching out, but everything else was like kind of
Yes.
it was in camera, and
Oh, okay.
and I used
Okay.
those
Cool.
real like laser lights and stuff. So what was very important for me with post is obviously the crazy editing and the spinning and the zooming in and zooming out and
Yes.
stuff like that. And then apart from that, which was very big, was uh Hazer that did the soundtrack also does the sound design, which is very, very important for me to get that my style across and to emphasize on those little crazy things. So that I think his work and my work just very like gel together and makes it what it
Cool.
what it should be.
Yeah, yeah. The stars aligned, I think, with Fred Berry, and I think the same with Street Trash. Um, can't wait for others to see it. So let's see. We often do a this or that section. It's kind of fun. I just throw out two things. You just pick one or the other. No
Okay.
pressure. The first one is alien or zombie invasion.
Um,
Kind of fun.
Alien.
Aliens. Okay. Let's see. Red eye or a day flight.
Ooh.
Night flight or day flight.
Uh,
Guess pros and
uh,
cons of each. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. First one. First one.
First one. Okay. Red eye. Let's see. Summer camp slasher or haunted house movie.
Um, Haunted house movie. I'm gonna go for.
Haunted house. Okay. Night of the Living Dead or Return of the Living Dead.
I'm gonna go for Night of the Living Dead.
Tough one. Yeah, the OG. Let's see, District 9 or Chappie.
Oh, 100% District 9.
Yeah, it's good. Chappie's pretty good too. Let's see, make dinner at home or dine out.
Um, there's pros and cons to that because there's nothing worse
Of
when you go
course.
out.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I love cooking, so there's nothing worse when you go out and you know that you can make a better fucking meal
You
than
could
you
have,
eat it.
yes,
So
yes, and
50/50 on that one.
overpaying for. Okay, fair enough. Both. Texas Chainsaw, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre '74, or the remake in 2003.
Original, 100%.
Yeah, the remake's good too, but I'd have to go with that too. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
It's, let's see, audio or physical book?
Um, Physical book.
Two more, Rosemary's Baby or The Exorcist?
Um, I got Exorcist.
Exorcist, yeah. And then lastly, Jaws or Halloween '78?
Ooh, that's a very hard one. They're two very, very different
They're very
movies.
different. Yes, yes.
Very different. Both are great. Both are great. I'm gonna go for
Okay,
Jaws, but they're both very different. I love them both. I love them both.
yeah. We always ask that one because my co-host's favorite film is Jaws, and Halloween is mine.
Both great.
Um, let's see. I have a couple fun questions. What's your favorite horror franchise?
Oh, um, shit, man. I don't even know.
Well, I thought it
Mind's
was going to
blank
be
now.
fun. Uh,
Name a few. I'm just trying to think
um,
like off the top of my
Friday the
head.
13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween,
I think
Hellraiser.
I'll go for Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, I think Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
some,
And
some of them get shit as they go as they
yeah,
go
of
along,
course.
but they have their
Yes.
moments. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
it's a mixture of those.
good choice. Yeah, like Halloween Resurrection is a film we don't talk about too much. Let's see. Do you have a favorite movie of the year that you've seen so far?
Um,
Doesn't
I
have to be
just
horror.
watched Substance, which
Okay.
was really cool. I really enjoyed
Mhm.
that. I'm trying to think what
Yeah.
other films I've seen this year. I know there's been quite a few. There was some good films earlier on in the year. I'm just trying to think of them right now, but no, there
Oh
was
gosh.
this year's also gone like super fast. So now I'm just like, I mean, it's Christmas
It
next month, which
does.
is fucking
I
crazy.
know. How is that possible? Yeah, the substance was fantastic. Let's see. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Fried Berry, if you haven't seen it, you have to watch. Street Trash, I think is going to do very well. Congrats on that.
Thanks.
Lastly, how can folks find you on social media?
I think just type in Ryan Kruger. It should come up on Facebook and Instagram. I think my Instagram handle is a Ryan Kruger thing, and same with Twitter or X or whatever you want to fucking call it
Yeah,
now.
whatever it's
Uh,
called.
but
Yeah.
yeah, drop me a line if you let me know what you thought of Fried Barry or Street Trash. Always nice to hear from fans, and it's always great to know that people are watching my shit. At least I know I'm doing something right. So yeah.
Yes, completely. Yeah, yeah, awesome. And that's how you and I connected. So I'm a fan of your films. Keep making more. If you got new projects coming out, let us know. We'd have you on again in a second.
Cool,
And
man.
head on over. Yeah, of course. Head on over to YouTube. Check out A&B Horror Movies. Like and subscribe because it helps our channel. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on.
Cool. Thank
Bye,
you so
everyone.
much, man. Much appreciated.